not great. People are saying Caleb Williams is regressing. He's obviously getting sacked a lot. If you listen to some quarterback gurus and people on the internet, it's like sacks certainly offensive line fault, but Caleb also hanging on to the rock, seemingly doesn't know what he's doing. Shane Waldron, offensive coordinator, I don't think a lot of people have come out in the past and said, this guy's a great offense coordinator. Yep. Eberflus obviously has sweet hair and a great beard, but it's not going right. What are you hearing up in Chicago? What are your thoughts up there for the Bears as a whole?
Well, what is it, 2 straight games now where they have not scored an offensive touchdown, first time in 20-plus years. And I think the troubling part here is that when you see Caleb on the sideline, like flashed him a couple times, to me he looks a little bit like Bryce Young looked at the start of the season. He looks a little bit like overwhelmed and shell-shocked of what's going on. And so they're at a point now with this team struggling where they have been engaged today in conversations about what is the best way for them to move forward as a franchise and improve as a franchise. And so I don't know that they've decided on anything right now. I don't know what they'll ultimately wind up doing. Matt Eberflus addresses the media here, scheduled to address the media here in about 24 minutes. But I would expect that there'll be some sort of change in Chicago on the offensive side of football. Is that changing the play caller? Is that changing the quarterback and benching Caleb Williams for Tyson Bagent? I think all these things are being discussed in the building today, and ultimately the organization has to figure out what is the best course of action for this franchise to move forward and to protect everybody. Like, you've got a great quarterback in Caleb Williams who right now is regressing and getting beat up and starting to look like some of these other quarterbacks have looked. Are they better off going with Tyson Bagent there? Are they better off changing out the play caller there? I don't know what they're ultimately going to decide, but I don't believe it's going to be status quo on the offensive side of the football.
Bryce Young obviously goes back in. They win a couple games after being benched for a bit and changing some stuff. So maybe a perspective shift up there could change and help Caleb, or maybe the entire world would implode if they were to bench Caleb Williams, like what happened here in Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson.
Yep. Coach, your old squad, the Patriots got a big win, and Drake May, their young quarterback, is playing well and pumping up the defense and trying to get all the media room to give a standing ode to the defense. What do you make of the young guys' play? Like, do you like how he's kind of grown into that leadership role and playing better on the field as well?
Yeah, well, I think he's done a good job when he's been able to scramble and run around, made some plays on play action where they can separate the defense, because the running game, when Stevenson can get it going, is draw some of the coverage and the linebackers up and so forth. But to me, the bigger thing is just where the Bears are. They can't protect. They can't move the ball. They can't score any points. Jacksonville, same situation. You have several of these teams that just – we talked about this at the beginning of the year, Pat, in Chicago. They have this all-star quarterback, these all-star receivers, the greatest skill players in the history of football. And the offensive line's a problem. They can't run the ball. They can't protect. Swift is doing all he can, but – it's just, hard. And then, you get into a situation where too many negative plays, too many turnovers, too many long yardage situations. And it's been a tough, look, they've had the benefit of the schedule. We'll see how it goes here with the Bears and with Jacksonville and teams like that. Seattle, that have had a lot of offensive line problems. It's just, Cleveland, just hard to imagine that they're going to really be able to sustain much when you have that many problems up front.
Let's go to Chicago, actually. Back to Chicago. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, speaking of Chicago, Coach, now it's coming out, everyone's saying, hey, you look at Caleb Williams, he's definitely regressing, and everyone's coming after Shane Waldron, and obviously there's all the questions about Eberflus, whether or not he's going to keep his job. But as a coach, especially a defensive-minded head coach, how do you know when it's time mid-season to make like a play-calling change like they're talking about right now?
And with that being said, he just spoke at his press conference. He said Caleb's not getting benched, and Shane Waldron's still the play caller as of now, literally just moments ago.
Way to be on top of it, Pat.
Thank you. Just news breaking. Just news breaking. Sorry.
Well, yeah. Look, I think the only time, I think you want to make that decision is when you're not going to go back on it. That that the die is cast and this is the way it's going to go, and whatever you've seen, you've you've reached the point that unless there's some type of injury or some circumstance that's, I would say, kind of unforeseen, that this is the way it's going, and then that's when you would make that change. Not you don't want to make it and then 2 or 3 weeks later realize, well, actually things were better before, and now we need to go back to where we were. That's not what you want to do. So once you decide that's what it is, then go ahead and move forward, but you better be sure, because you definitely don't want to backtrack.
Let's go to the next overreaction, shall we? This is from old ZD, baby. Oh, no. Yeah. Hashtag I don't want to overreact, but we need to blow up the Bears organization from the inside. George has never won a playoff game since taking over in 2011. He also fired a 10-6 Lovie Smith. Still to this day, makes no sense. Just an added note there from Z. He doesn't have the dog in him like the great George Halas. The McCaskies should gift the team to the great city of Chicago. Absolute bullshit. Fire everyone.
Oh, no.
You're saying from top down?
Top down. The fat lady has sung. It's over.
Damn. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, good run, though, for this guy, little baby George. You guys call him Little George, Baby George? What's his name?
Just fucking
okay.
Horrible George.
Okay, horrible George.
Yeah. He's up in the game right now.
Horrible George.
Horrible George.
He's nothing like Dog George. No. He's horrible George. Lovie Smith getting fired from there. One and more. One and more.
Yeah, that happens.
Cleveland Browns had Baker Mayfield as their quarterback. They won a playoff game. One and more. One and more. That'll get you.
Caldwell.
Yeah, Caldwell in Detroit. Same exact thing.
But
that's
you
found the guy.
Sheila Fordham turned it all around.
Well, good luck to the Bears.
Yeah, good luck.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, they're fucked.
That's no fun. Zeke was taking down entire cows.
Yeah.
In those victory stakes.
Right.
My freezer is so stacked right now, and I can't fucking eat any of them.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while.
Bingo.
And it's going to be a while. Is Caleb good?
Oh, he's so good.
The people I watched, I think, would argue, but
Well, if you didn't miss your tackles,
He pots
that's
a
what
lot.
happened.
Dano was standing on his chair today talking about him.
I did see Dano all standing up. This is a timing thing, a route thing, a yada, yada, yada thing. All right, Dan. What were you? You say Pats a
Yeah,
lot?
I'm saying he fucking pots a lot.
he's potting?
Like, listen.
Like how? What do you mean?
I get it. Your OC stinks. Your O-line stinks. But I don't need to see you fucking potting and whining on the
Well,
sideline.
he's invested. That's
Stop.
why he's
Penalize
potting.
a guy for being competitive.
Yeah, you want him to be happy on the sideline when they're losing?
I mean,
Yeah,
bring that
thank
energy
you,
up.
Thank you. Just being a fucking potter isn't being competitive. It's being a fucking potter.
You're done with the pot.
You don't pot in the NFL, okay? This ain't USC, pal, okay? And all the Bears fans, when they drafted, but look at our roster. We're actually we might win the NFC North this year. No, you fucking aren't, okay? It's the same fucking beat. Zeke knows. It's the same fucking thing. Over and over. Over and over.
Yeah, but they're potting. They care.
And I'm done with the potting, okay? You're not any good, so don't pot. Fire your head coach. And listen, I know he's been on the show. He's been a friend of the show. He's a good guy. You probably
Good
should
guy.
fucking shit can polls too.
What?
Whoa! Because
Guy is right there.
guess
You
what
got to
they
get rid of
needed to do?
everybody.
They needed to get an offensive
Whoa.
line to protect their quarterback, but instead they got Keenan Allen. They drafted another wide receiver. We have the best fucking skill guys ever. We're gonna be just fine.
Is it possible to start with team 0? Just skip everybody?
Quit potting. Play. No pot. Just play.
Well said.
All right, let's go to another overreaction.
He ain't the
I hope
only
they
one
don't
either.
fire Flutes, though. I'd like to see him be there through the Packers game next week. 'Cause I'm worried if they fire him, they'll get that interim coach bump.
It would have happened to the Packers.